Hey guys, welcome to Travel Bros. We are episode 17 today. We're flying way out there to the Palmetto State. I think so. Checking,
Yeah,
Jamie,
yeah,
Palmetto State.
I
Okay.
think that's right.
To South Carolina. And what hotel are you telling us about today?
We are going to be talking about Montage Palmetto Bluff today.
For starters, where is that? Because I don't even know.
That's a good question. Yeah, so it is on the coast. It's located about 30 minutes from Hilton Head and Savannah, so kind of like smack dab in the middle there. So talking about location, and that's really how you get there too. So you can fly into Hilton Head or you can fly into Savannah, and it's a pretty easy drive from either one of them, about 30, 40 minutes from either one of them. So kind of gives you a ballpark idea where it is. So, along the coast between those two.
Perfect. What were you about to say before I interrupted you?
Yeah, so like probably many people listening, I had never really heard of this place before I moved to the Charlotte area. And once I moved here, this seemed to be like a go-to spot for a lot of people. Kind of a great weekend getaway or family vacation spot. So I got to visit it, I guess it was late last year sometime, and really enjoyed it. It was a really cool property. So looking forward to talking about it.
Perfect. Before I let you dig into a lot, how big is this property? Because the more I've looked at pictures and done some research, and we were actually pricing somebody out this property this week, it just seems like there's a hotel, this massive building, golf courses, different pools, maybe even some houses. So like, what does this property encompass?
So the hotel itself is not massive, right? So room wise, it's not a huge hotel. I need to pull up the exact stats, but the property itself is massive. It is 20,000 acres. So it is huge, and it consists of the hotel that we're going to talk about, private residences, then residences that are also rentable through the hotel that I'll touch on a little bit. There's a number of different, I'd call them villages, that have like clusters of homes and stuff in, and each one has different amenities. Some have different restaurants, little shops and stuff like that. So you can go to and visit all of them. The hotel is one, central kind of location, but you can bike for miles and miles and visit the different town or villages inside Palmetto Bluff.
Do you say bike for a reason? Like, are you able to drive in there, or is it?
Yeah, you can drive around,
Okay.
but when you stay here, every room comes with its bikes. So whether you're staying in a cottage or in the hotel itself, like you get access to your own private bike for your stay, and there are bike paths just throughout. So when we were there, we biked everywhere, and you're talking you could bike for like literally endless miles.
Okay, perfect. And then it looks like, doing some checking, it's 200 guest rooms, suites, and cottages.
Yeah, it sounds about right.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
so
it is.
I was going to say, kind of the breakdown is, right, so you've got this main, I don't know if you call it lodge or the main building that has guest rooms in it. Then you have some outbuildings. So I think there was two different sections of outbuildings that also have what I would consider like regular hotel rooms. And then you have a bunch of different cottages, which are really cool. And we can kind of go into them a little bit more. But there's also homes that you can rent that are a part of Montage, like the collection itself. So, private homes, 4, 5, 6 bedrooms that you can rent as well and still get all the amenities of, staying in the hotel.
Okay, perfect. It does seem like the whole place has a very like colonial architecture and style to it, which is, I guess, expected somewhat in the in the South, but always kind of cool to look at.
Yeah, it is. There's still some ruins, I guess, of like old plantation houses or homes and things like that. So some of it, I guess, is pretty, it's fairly historic. So one of the main ones in the middle of the village is you can kind of tour what was, I believe there was a fire that burned down, I don't know how long, 100 years ago, hundreds of years ago. And the remains are still there. So some of the stone and brick kind of things they're left from it are right down in the middle of the Wilson Village, which is like the main village.
Perfect. Now, interestingly, I spent a lot of summers in Hilton Head as a kid. And I think for anyone familiar with Hilton Head, and if they start thinking Hilton Head in their mind, they're probably going to get a really wrong impression of what this place is. So, you've got like there's an Omni, Westin, right? A couple Marriotts all on the beach and around, some of the like Hilton vacation home rental places in Hilton Head. And you think very kitschy kid, somewhat budget friendly vacation. I mean, nowadays it's probably not as budget friendly as it was when I was a kid, but is that what you're getting at Montage Palmetto Bluff, or what is this price? Obviously, you're on a different price point. What is this bringing to you versus what people might think of for Hilton Head?
Yeah, so I would not compare this to Hilton Head at all, right? So you really only have one hotel, which is the Montage, which is there. And then the rest are really nice, expensive homes up to massive mansions. As we were biking through, there's some pretty impressive properties at price points that I would not have expected to see in South Carolina. So it's definitely a much higher price point. So hotel rooms here, you're talking probably entry level. What do we see? Like $700-800 or so, and then kind of on up from there, depending on time of year. So, there's some, I don't want to say deals to be found, but you can find some reasonably priced rooms. But for the most part, it's going to be more probably upmarket, right? So you're probably not getting in much under $700-ish or so per night.
Yeah, if I pull the average nightly price, it says $749.
That sounds about right.
TripAdvisor gives a range between $565 and $1,247. So
that sounds
that
about right.
Okay. And then what? How about? Let's talk time of year you went. Do you feel like there's a time of year that's better, or a time of year you would avoid visiting, or what's kind of your thoughts there?
So when we went, the more I think about it, it must have been, I guess, maybe towards the end of summer. It was hot when we went. So now price reflected that. We got a really good deal when we went. And that's actually how I ended up here. I just happened to be looking at pricing and I'm like, when can I go visit this at the most affordable time of year? And I believe it happened to be August. So it was like 100 degrees, which I live down here and I enjoy the heat. So we were out bike riding, this heat and everything, and it was totally fine if you're used to it. If you're not used to it, I would say the summer's probably fairly oppressive heat wise. I would think if you were looking at ideal time to go would probably be, late spring and then fall. So, April, May, September, October would probably be like my, top choices to visit here weather wise.
Okay. And then let's just, why don't you dig into some of the rooms, amenities and things that you've got on tap here?
When I was there, like I said, we stayed in one of the cottages, which would be probably my room of choice if I were to go. The cottages are laid out pretty, there's different layouts, but the one we stayed in, it was, it's a private cottage. You walk in, it's got kind of like a junior-ish suite layout, right? So it's a big, large bedroom with seating area and stuff. It has a fireplace, really high ceilings. And then you've got a, kind of like a changing room / luggage storage room, which was, probably another 50-60 square feet. And then that led into the bathroom. The bathroom was awesome. Really big bathroom, nice big soaking tub, and a steam shower, which I think is really cool. I love steam showers. So really nice big steam shower. But what really set to me the cottage apart was it has a screened in porch or area, and it was big. The screened in porch area is probably 150-ish square feet or more. So, couch, kind of sitting area, and it looked out over a little pond. So that was really cool. So that would be, especially for a couple, I think the cottages are pretty awesome. The rooms were nice too, just, kind of standard hotel rooms, but very nicely laid out. There's also suites. So we did tour a couple of different suites, kind of, what you'd consider a standard suite. And that layout would probably be better with kids versus a cottage. So you had a separate living area with separate bedroom and stuff. So you don't get that in the cottage that we stayed in. We did tour another cottage that had kind of more of a suite setup, which would be, again, separate bedroom, living area, which would be great with kids. So you got a bunch of different room layout options, from standard hotel rooms up to suites, things like that. But then you also have basically like private homes that are, as part of the Montage Palmetto Bluff rental program. So you've got 4, 5, 6 bedroom homes that you could rent as well, but still have access to all of the hotel amenities, so the pools and the spa and the, basically everything that the hotel would have.
Perfect. And then one interesting thing, it looks like, sometimes when you get a little remote or you're not in a super urban area, you've got to kind of rely on eating on property, right? Because there's just not a lot. When I look on maps and not having been there, it seems like there's a lot of different restaurants and like an ice cream shop and all these things kind of in that area, like a grocery store. Was that kind of your experience? Is there a lot of different stuff you can do there?
Yeah, because it is quite a bit of residential here as well. It's not just one hotel restaurant. So I do feel like even the hotel itself, I think all the residential stuff around it helps support the additional restaurants on property. So there is a little grocery store / convenience store at the gas station, and it had really good options. They had like, kind of deli type stuff, some sandwiches, things like that you can stop there, pick up. There's the River House, there's Buffalo's, Octagon. There's a bunch of different restaurants like on the hotel grounds itself. And then like in the village area, like you said, there's the ice cream shop there. There's kind of like an outdoors store, right? So like fishing, kind of beachy stuff like that there. Yeah, there's a bunch of options. I believe you can eat at the golf course as well. We didn't really go there, but we kind of toured past it. But I believe they have a restaurant there you can eat at. There's a speakeasy, which was really cool. It was closed for private event while we were there, but during the day we actually got to sneak down and take a look at it, and it was kind of neat. There's a ton of options for dining and stuff. You could go for a good bit of time and have enough options to not get bored, I think.
That is always nice. And then this is probably a dumb question, but is this water swimmable? That's kind of like I don't know what that is, a bay or inlet, I guess.
I don't think so. I'd say that. I did not see like a beach area or anything like that. Now you have 2 pool areas. So you've got kind of the main pool area by the main building, and then there's another one kind of towards the river, the May River. I do know you can do like paddle boarding and things like that on the, out from the resort, but I don't know if it's water you'd want to jump in. I do think there's like alligators and stuff down there, so I wasn't going to be jumping in the water.
Wow. Well, okay.
But
I guess alligators kind of change everything. So
yeah. Well, and I will say, so right from the property, they have like a outdoor sports area, and you can do they do charter boats and they do like dolphin tours, and you can do like a full day boat charter where they take you out to some different islands and stuff. And I think you could swim out there, but kind of like the May River and where their property is, I don't know that you're going to be jumping in the water right from there.
Got it. Yeah, and it looks like they have stables.
There's way more activities than I anticipated. So you've got like all the water activities we just talked about. There is a huge like horse stable and equestrian center. So tons of different things you can do there. There is a, clay shooting. There's a shooting area. It was a little bit more expensive than I was hoping for. Just because we were down there for like a quick weekend, and I want to say most of the shooting things started at like 300 or something, plus or minus, which, if you're on vacation and you kind of budgeted for it, like not bad, but it was like, do we really want to spend, there was 4 of us, do we really want to spend $1,200 to go shoot for, a couple hours or something? So we skipped that. But that was something I was really looking forward to checking out, because I think shooting like clay pigeons and stuff is pretty cool. You also got all, tons of the water sports. The biking, you can bike for miles and miles. That's completely free. Like the bikes are included with your stay. And there's some neat like tree houses, not like a kiddie like playhouse, but that you can bike to. I want to say like 3, 4, 5 stories. Kind of like these neat tree houses that we stopped at, and you can climb up, and there's some really cool views from up top of the tree houses. So that was kind of neat. There's golfing. So there's an 18-hole Jack Nicklaus golf course. I'm not really a golfer, but the course looked beautiful. We stopped by the clubhouse and kind of took a look at it. So that looked neat.
Perfect. And then for the bikes and stuff, can you get like kids bikes or like bikes with training wheels and stuff?
I don't know about the bikes with training wheels. They do have kids bikes, and they do have bikes with like wagons behind them, so you can put the kids in it. So you can do that. And then I know a bunch of people also would get at least like one bike with a wagon just to throw their coolers and stuff in. So you could like haul your stuff around with you. So I saw a bunch of that. So that was a really good idea. We didn't have a wagon or anything like that, but you could do that, which would be kind of cool.
Okay. And it sounds like I'm already kind of like more eager to go here than when we had started. Um, but would you consider this a kids property? Is this a family hotel?
Yeah, so I envisioned it being more like a luxury, hey, couples come here for the weekend kind of thing. That was my thought going into it. After I visited, this is 100% what I would consider like a family property. There is so much activities and things like that geared towards kids, that you could easily come here for a week with the kids and find stuff to do like the entire time. There is there's a bunch of like wildlife things, and all different, like, even inside the property, there's like little electric boat tours that go through the canals and stuff. They've got like the on-property dog that you can go in and visit, which is kind of cool. I mean, there's a ton of like kid-focused activities and things like that.
Very cool. Yeah, and it looks like they've got a pretty robust like kids club type scenario from ages 5 to 12. They'll even do like full day and feed them lunch and stuff. So that seems pretty, it's pretty decent. And they've got, looks like a child's night out where they'll watch them for dinner and give them dinner from 5 to 9. You can do a little mix and drop them off, which is pretty neat. I do like that a lot.
It definitely seemed like it was very kid focused. It wasn't just a, hey, come here as adults for the weekend or whatever. A lot of things there. They did s'mores in the evening by the fire pits. So free s'mores. Now, we didn't do it because it was very hot when we visited, but I mean, that's kind of cool. I think kids always get a kick out of doing that.
Yeah, and it looks like they even have complimentary strollers with Up a Baby where you can rent jogger strollers and some things. So it does seem definitely a lot more kid-friendly than I had thought. And it also looks like they promote being pet-friendly. Just keep your pets away from the alligators would probably be preferred. Yeah, and then, so now that I find that this is a family resort, I'm more inclined to go. I have a lot of family in Atlanta, so I'm probably a 4 or 5 hour drive from here. However, now that we've established it's a family resort, would you feel good going there with just your wife for like a romantic weekend? Or is it like too family overrun that you're like...
Yeah. So, I mean, we went with another couple. It was couples weekend. And I mean, I still think it's a great romantic getaway, especially like these like cottages and things like that. But I definitely felt like it was very family friendly. I think you could do either. Yeah, they've got the speakeasy for adults. They've got plenty of more like, some of the restaurants were more upscale. We did a little bit more casual stuff, but the restaurants were real. The food was really good, so I thought that was really cool. One neat thing, and I think you'll appreciate this. This I think is a really cool, amenity or feature of a property. And there's not many that I've ever seen this at. So I'm trying not to hype this up too much, but based on where it's located, and this I believe would be a pretty big money saver for a lot of people, they have a partnership. They offer free Cadillacs for you if you're staying there. So you basically, it's like a free Cadillac rental car. So they have Cadillac SUVs, they have Cadillac sedans, and you can basically just sign it out and take it for the day. So you can drive to Hilton Head, you could go down to Savannah if you want to, go out exploring. So where I think my pitch for that is, it's like, all right, you could fly into Savannah or Hilton Head and then either like arrange car service or Uber or something to the property, and not feel like you have to rent a car for, 4, 5, 6 days, but you still have access to a vehicle if you want it and can go out, explore, or go to the grocery store or go shopping, like whatever you want to do. So I thought that was pretty cool.
It's unique. I could think of some better partnerships than Cadillac, perhaps, but, here nor there. I mean, if they have some newer Escalades for you to drive around in, and it does look like they offer transportation within the vicinity of the property, like a house car type thing in these notes that I see. So that is nice. What's some stuff I guess we haven't really covered here yet? Like, what about these? What if you're like traveling multi-generation or like with a larger group? Like, what's up with some of these homes or villas?
So I didn't get to really go in and check them out, but from the outside, they looked really nice. And location wise they're kind of like right in the village. So I believe people own them privately and they can enter them into like the Montage rental program is the way I took it. So some were like right in the village, some were closer to the hotel. but they had different like number signs on them that you could kind of differentiate as you walked around or drove around. But one cool thing, if you rent these private homes, you actually get the same benefits. So like, we talk about like virtuoso benefits that we can get for you if you book. You get the same benefits if you book the homes. So it's kind of cool. So you have the full kitchen and everything if you want it, but you also get breakfast for 2 per bedroom in the restaurant if you want. So that's kind of a neat benefit, right? So you can book these homes and still sneak out and go get restaurant breakfast if you want to.
That is nice. Do you have offhand what your benefits are for booking through us for this property?
So this is virtuoso. So you would get breakfast for 2 daily in the restaurant, $100 property credit, welcome amenity, upgrade based on availability, early check-in, late checkout based on availability. So now if you're renting a home, there's not going to be any upgrade available there, right? Because you're kind of booking into a specific home. But in the hotel, you're going to get usually bumped up a category as long as you're not going during like a peak time. The availability seemed pretty good while we were there. So there's definitely some money to be saved there. Particularly, we always talk about breakfast is a pretty good money saver. Probably $60, $80 breakfast or so there. So that's a good money saver.
Yeah, and I've been clicking around. Looks like some of these 5-bedroom homes are over 4,000 square feet. They're on the river. You've got 6 bathrooms.
Yeah, I mean, the homes are really nice and they're large.
Yeah, just looking at them, and they like have courtyard pools. So like the whole center of the house like looks into like a pool area, and looks like they got a little outdoor bar and barbecue. I mean, this would be a fantastic, if you've got cousins, aunts, uncles, people you just want to travel with in general, that is a larger group. And it looks like there's 5 or 6 homes to pick from for each size. So they've got some 2-bed homes, 2.5 baths, some 3-bed, 4 beds. I was just clicking around some of these 5 beds. It looks like they're all located on the river. I would love to stay in one of these. Let me see if I can pull a quick little price here.
Yeah, I'm curious now.
Yeah, pulling a couple nights in May just for quickness. I mean, dude, 5-bedroom is $5 a night. That is pre-tax.
That's not bad though. You're talking 6 and change per night per room.
Yeah. I would agree for a 5-bedroom. And it says it's got a dining room with 10 seats. I'm trying to see what you get with taxes. You're still paying the resort fee. So yeah, like another $150, $200 a night, and you're covered with tax. There's way worse deals out there.
Yes. Yeah, and that's probably like, I think that would be a good time to go. May, like, the
right.
water's going to be warm enough. Another thing that kind of unrelated, there was 2 fitness centers. So I know we'll talk about the gym or running. Like, so you're a runner, you could run for miles here. You could go run a marathon if you want to, realistically.
Yeah, away from these alligators. My gosh.
But there's 2 gyms. There's one like in the main building, and then there's also one connected to like the other pool, which is closer to like the river area and all the activities and restaurants and stuff.
Okay. I'm going to hit you with a hard question you might not know the answer to, but what is Palmetto Bluff? Is it like a planned community? Is it like a big resort area? Like, what is it? I
think the way I took it is a kind of like a giant master planned community. So when you enter Palmetto Bluff, it's a gated entrance. And when you go in, I mean, even when you enter it, you're still like 1.5 miles or so from the hotel. Like, it's still a good bit, but there's tons of homes and stuff like that in Palmetto Bluff. So that's my take on it. It's just a giant master planned community, and the hotel happens to be a part of that plan.
So then are there like schools and stuff in here for kids, or like, because I saw there's a fire station.
So I honestly don't know if there's a school in there, if the kids go to school like outside of it, but I would also imagine that just from my like observation, I would say 90% or more of these are probably second, third homes. I don't know that many are full-time residents.
Got it. Okay. You're not that far from a Publix, which is always nice. It's just out of town on the other side of the gate. So get your Publix subs.
Breakfast was a la carte in the main, kind of hotel area. I remember it being really good. Lots of like Southern kind of flair, takes on different things. I feel like I got shrimp and grits there. I don't remember 100% off the top of my head what all we got, but I do remember really enjoying the breakfast when we were there. I have to go back and look at some pictures, but if it was cooler out, I believe you can also sit outside kind of looking over one of like the lagoon areas, but like I said, we went when it was pretty warm outside, so we spent most of the time inside, especially when we ate.
Perfect. I never really envisioned myself wanting to go on vacation in South Carolina, but this might have changed my mind. Like I'm not anti-Charleston, but I'm also not the most pro-Charleston person. Charleston
I'm
is
not
a
a
lot
huge
of
Charleston
fun.
fan.
How about this? I'm going to defend Charleston. I like Charleston a good bit. Now that I have a kid, I don't think Charleston is the most fun place in the world to be with a kid. I've really liked the few hotels I've stayed there. I like a lot of the food. I do think it's become way overhyped or blown out of proportion as a destination these days, but what vacation place hasn't is almost my question at this point. That was pretty useful. I really was like, well, Jamie's going to tell me about this place. I'm not going to care. But now I'm kind of like trying to figure out when I can go. I'm like, this seems fun. I might have to play around with something over the holidays, but it might be a little cold to do some activities, but I'm pretty excited. How should people go about getting some help to stay here if they would like to?
Yeah, I mean, I think the best way is to, reach out. We've got the links on all our socials, so reach out. We'd be happy to get you some pricing options, different quotes, things like that. One other, I think, fun fact I meant to mention earlier on, apparently this is where Justin and Hailey Bieber got married. They've got a couple neat little wedding chapels there. I don't remember what it's actually, I think it has an actual name, but they call it the Bieber Chapel. Like that was what it was referred to when we were there. So it was where Justin Bieber got married. Apparently it's known for that. So that was kind of cool. So this would be a really cool spot for a wedding. I believe there was a wedding going on there while we were there. So beautiful areas. Like this would be a really cool destination wedding spot.
Yeah, I guess the fun idea too is you could put some of the wedding, like each of the wedding parties in one of the homes and then have some of the guests at the hotel. So that is probably pretty fun.
Yeah, I know they have some cool suites that are like the whole top floor, a good chunk of the top floor of the hotel. And that was the only reason I think I knew there was a wedding going on, because they were like, yeah, that's where like the bride's getting ready or whatever. And it was like, it was either the whole upstairs or like half the upstairs and had balconies and stuff looking out over the pool area.
Got it. So yeah, if you want to get married here, definitely reach out.
Yeah, it was a cool looking spot.
Everybody else, you can also reach out, I guess, too. But random question on a unrelated note, have you been to Tybee Island?
I have not been to Tybee Island.
Okay. That is, I mean, it's about an hour probably from where we are. It's closer to Savannah, but that's another fun little place I used to go as a kid that I kind of like in Georgia. Get down into some of these I wish there were some better hotels in some of these areas. Real quick, this is bad podcasting, but where is the Ritz-Carlton over there? Amelia Island, is that right?
Amelia Island, yeah. And so that's really like North Florida.
Yeah. So it's quite a distance. I was just trying to remember.
That's a cool property too. Maybe we'll hit on that in a future podcast episode.
Okay. So that's like the opposite way. It's like just in Florida on the other side of southern Georgia, where Montage Palmetto Bluff is just in South Carolina on the other side.
Yeah, it's probably not that much further from like a Savannah, just the other direction.
Right. Okay. I've never been to Amelia Island, so I might have to add that into my...
That's a cool property too. Recently renovated. Definitely worth checking out, I would say.
Okay. Well, perfect. I think that is our episode. And man, I might be going to my first Montage soon. Thank you, Mr. Jamie.
Sweet.
And reach out. We got an auberge next week. Spoiler. Bye, guys.
All right. See ya.